Shall we start, ma'am?
Yes, sir, you can start. Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning to one and all respected faculty members of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Nagarjuna Degree College, and faculty members of other colleges, students, invitees, and others. It gives me an immense pleasure and honor to do comparing of today's webinar on change management on behalf of organizing institutions. I am Dr. Biraj Amit Anil, Assistant Professor of Department of MBA, Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology. This webinar is getting viewed by more than 160 members through Google Meet, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. This webinar is jointly organized by Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Department of MBA and Placement and Training of NCET, Bangalore. This webinar on change management is getting preceded over by Professor Dr. Jitendranath Mungara, Principal NCET, and Professor Dr. Mohan Kumar S., Dean QAD NCET. Coordinator for today's webinar are Professor Gitanjali G., HOD of Department of MBA, Mr. Ravi Shankar K., Head Training and Placement, Mr. Ranjan Manish, Head Industry Institution Interaction and Innovation. I would like to start the program with the quote, "The measure of intelligence is the ability to change," said by Albert Einstein. One more quote, which I could remember right now, is given by Peter Drucker. He states that the great danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday's logic. Change is the only thing which is certain in this world. In case we are not adapting to the changes, we will be left behind. Some of us are under the belief that in case things are going on well, then why to change? In reality, by not initiating changes in our personal and professional life, we are not maintaining the status quo, but we will be lagging behind. Changes are the majority of the time forced, and we adapt to it. Managing the change is the responsibility of every individual. With this thought process, may I now request Dr. Mohan Kumar S., Dean QAD NCET, to share few words about the webinar. Sir, over to you. Mohan, sir.
Again, good morning to one and all. I'm very happy to be here, and on behalf of my management and on behalf of my principal and my own behalf, I would like to appreciate this management department HOD and coordinator and other head of the department's placement and training and institute innovation and interaction cell head, Professor Ranjan Manish, for organizing this webinar. This webinar is utmost important and so much in demand. And I would like to welcome our chief guest of today's session to this useful and informative and purposeful webinar. My hearty welcome to you, sir. And I would like to appreciate personally our Professor Gitanjali ma'am for her complete dedication and commitment to organize all these webinars. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. May I request Mr. Ravi Shankar K., Head Training and Placement, NCET, to say a few words about the change management and this webinar. Over to you,
sure.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Arun, and it's very great that be part of this session. And Gitanjali madam has contributed a lot for this to have this kind of a sessions over here. We welcome you. The topic is very good as a change management. Being from an industry, I work for HP, HCL Technologies, and these companies. The change management is one of the very interesting subject which people always nurture, and we wanted to hear from you more and have that kind of insights to this audience. So thank you very much and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. I take this opportunity to introduce today's speaker to the audience. Arun Murthy Battula, FRSA, CEO, Creactos, Palmyga, and Vice Chair of Europe-India Center for Business and Industry, Hyderabad. He is specialist in the area of strategy, science, philosophy, client service delivery, business development, project management, banking, taxation, change management, consulting, turnaround culture, knowledge management, storytelling, social media and collaboration, human performance improvement, new business development, product development, e-commerce, marketing, training, learning and development, e-learning and instructional design, process optimization, measurement, etc. Managing business program for enabling the large UK-based banks with consulting and IT solution capabilities. He has done that. Met a client's expectation and created a delight through a delivery of simple, innovative, and complex IT solutions of small, medium, and large corporations. He has created successful, rolled out knowledge management initiatives for organizations and strategic business unit. He has built a team enabling networks and communities, enabling organization growth and sustenance. He has served various organizations at a strategic level and made planned changes and also managed changes in those organizations. He also served the society by getting associated with NGOs. Some of the organizations with whom Sir has associated are M. Govind and Sons, Village Reconstruction Organization India, Advent Global Solution, Nete, Botale Thought Square, where he is an entrepreneur. He was an entrepreneur and he is, in fact. Hello Information Service Private Limited, Patni Computers System, Infosys, Excavation, the RSA, the Royal Society for Encouragement of Arts, Manufacturers and Commerce, Narayana's Art Nirbhar Bharat Foundation. He has done BTech Mechanical Engineering from RVR and JS College of Engineering. He has done PGDM in General Management from Goa Institute of Management. From the London School of Economics and Political Science, he has learned strategic decision making for management and strategic decision making. From Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta, he has learned advanced programming in strategic management strategy. From Stanford University, he has learned advanced project management program, strategic execution. With this brief introduction, I know that Sir has done a lot of things, a lot of achievements are there. There are several pages are there to read out his profile. It would be taking another half an hour. I'm really sorry, sir, I won't be able to cover everything. With this brief backdrop, may I now request Arun sir to address the...
Yeah, hi. Thanks a lot. And a lot of these things are there because not everything is 100% different. Some are contextual. And that is one of the key in planning for change management. The point I want to start with is the same change that is happening in 2 to 3 different organizations is an entirely different effort. And that is the reason why we and the professionals who are getting into change management will have good opportunity to work in a particular change management program, gain the expertise, and then get to another organization and to either to drive a similar change or take the learnings and then go ahead and implement the change in that particular organization. I will divide the session. Sir, approximately, I guess we have about an hour from now, hour and 15 minutes. So I would like to divide the session into about 2 to 3 different parts. One part is for us to arrive at a common understanding. There are about 160 people now here. And this is one very, very important step in change management, being able to arrive at a common understanding. So first half an hour, 20 minutes or 10 minutes, we will try to arrive at that particular definition. Then I will take you through, there are multiple models. I'll take you through one particular model, which then we'll be getting into specifics. I will give you a small case study of how that model was implemented. And then towards the last 10, 15, 20 minutes, we will do a small exercise, because what do you call? I want to make this session highly interactive. Then, unless we work on something we have learned, it will not become learning that can be deployed somewhere else. So hope we, and if we are able to finish all of this in the next half an hour, then we can go home. But let's try and see where we go. I humble request Gitanjali ma'am. I'll try to share my screen now, but in case there is a difficulty, I request you to share the screen, ma'am.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay, I guess there is an issue, ma'am. So can you please share the screen from your side?
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah. In the meantime, I have. I would like to thank the professors and Professor Dr. Jitendra Mungra and Professor Dr. Mohan Kumar S. also for organizing this. Very, very important. And this is the most highly misunderstood topic. Ma'am, are you there with the slide?
Yes, sir. Just a minute.
Yeah. I started on change management, as Bam put some slides, about 1998 to 2007. That was a kind of a decade where the projects were around business process reengineering. The business process reengineering is an entire rethinking, reorchestration of an organization's processes, where efficiencies were the main aim, and supply chains and regrouping of teams were of highest importance, and primarily driven by one or two of the technology. So there were new technology solutions. ERP was quite prominent during those times. So but the organization had to be modified. The processes had to be changed a bit to be able to adapt to ERP, because ERPs in those days were quite rigid. So business process reengineering projects I started with, and a lot of learnings from there. Then we did in those during that decade of 99 to about 2007, just before the 2008 thing. I was working closely in building internet commerce solutions. So this again was business transformation or business model transformation that a lot of companies were getting into. So the word I'm using here is transformation and business model. So whenever there is one particular way of doing work or delivering value to the economy and to the client, we have to we will gain expertise in that particular way. But the need for delivering value in a much better way is essential. Why is that essential? We will try to understand in these next few minutes. So the companies in those particular times, one particular reason was that the market opened up, and one other way where change management makes business sense is where identifying new ways of liquidity, or identifying or creating new assets in an organization, which can become resources, or which can become the drivers for new forms of liquidity. I'm not sure there are, because I did take the what you call survey. I will showcase the results of that particular survey also. These are the two very, very important words we will need to understand. What is liquidity, and what is identifying new ways of creating this liquidity. In a business, as we all understand, profit making or making money is important. So how do we make money? If I have a product, that product is my tool to create liquidity, like cash flow. When I say liquidity, it is cash flow. Or when I say assets that can be liquidated, it could be a team or a new what do you call method or a framework. These are all called assets. So what happened during 1998 and 2007 was the internet opened up large new areas and new kinds of customers, and there were new kind of assets and digital assets that were getting built up, which could be liquidated and leveraged. So that is where a lot of the work of internet commerce and online learning platforms and the work started happening. So that gave me a good, what do you call, kind of a platform to get into more larger change management projects. It started around 2007-8 with Patni Computer Systems, where I was we were instrumental in creating a large scale change across the entire organization. And that is where more what do you call highly planned effort, and this is internal to the organization. There, when I took the what do you call survey, I also found a lot of confusion amongst the students on what is internal to the organization and what is external to the organization. Yeah. So internal to the organization, change management, in my opinion, is always internal to the organization. It is never ever external to the organization, because the change that is created external to the organization is created by somebody else whose organization that is part of. There was also a kind of confusion in between in some students around customers and customer interface. I do run a very, very good what do you call network of marketing and advertising professionals. We do try to attract customers. We find new ways of attracting customers, but we change the behavior of customers. We don't change, but we influence the behavior of customers. But that is not change management. That is the purpose of serving the purpose of business. But change management is primarily, what am I doing internally in my organization that is there in my control? The customers are not there in my control. They can move to anyone else. But if there is like, for example, if there is a new approach of attracting customers, and if I am adopting a new method, like then that can be called change management if I plan for it. Okay. So my opinion from my experience is that a change management initiative is always internal to the organization. Something that is external to organization, that is a natural change, a desired change, which collectively happens because of internal change management initiatives of multiple participating organizations. Okay. So storms will come and go. You can't do much about it. That is external. Internal is that at least you can be prepared and build a storm shelter. So storm shelter, everybody can't build. So people should build together. So but at least creating a policy of contributing to the storm shelter is an internal practice. So that is where first confusion I wanted to clear among the students is that change management is an internal program, always an internal program. Anything that is to do with external program, external environment, that is, you can only influence it, but you cannot manage that change. And when I'm talking about internal to the organization also, there are a lot of changes which are highly complex, and there are a lot of changes which are on the what do you call edge of the organization, edges of the organization. That is where a lot of change happens. So, do we call that change as external to the organization? No. Even there, it is a combined effort of two or three organizations. Could be a vendor, could be yourself. But when you have formed a change management team, that particular team is given an ownership, and that becomes an internal change to both the organizations. So to manage, and it is never a external change. With that, then currently I'm doing, as I mentioned on the slide, I'm not sure what I'm doing because, or maybe it might take a little more time to talk about the results, or I'll talk about them if time permits during the end of the session. But yeah, I am also contributing to the what do you call large change management projects at the moment. And the reason I am able to clearly articulate that external, what do you call change management is never external, is that I'm today working on influencing projects and programs across multiple countries, multiple continents, and internally in India across multiple states. And change management is internal. I'm trying to create what you call influence something there, but to be able to do that, all I need to do is change something that is internal in the organization. Okay, I'll try to explain. And this is a beginning of the connect with the academic institutions. I will be very, very happy to contribute offline on any queries that we may not be able to resolve today. Ma'am, request, please go to the next slide. Next one, ma'am. Yeah. Always be clear on the type of change you want to, what is the periphery of your responsibility. Here, because as I mentioned, most of the change management practices are internal in the organization. I am trying to bring out something that was done internally in the organization and putting it across in the academic framework, and to people whose ability to absorb might be slightly less. So that's why I have put a disclaimer. But I'm also trying to bring out one or two points in change management from this particular disclaimer. One, like, don't use whatever I'm telling you as is in any practical purposes. That is because, as I mentioned to you earlier, the same change in 2 to 3 different organizations is an entirely different change that is to be handled ground up. So that's why something which might have worked in one organization may not work exactly in the same organization. What I've seen is people using the same templates across multiple different kind of organizations. And after a year, after $1 million is spent, things go wrong. Only reason because they have used a template and they try to blindly implement something from somewhere. So that is the reason. The first thing is. The second point is change management initiatives are very, very painful. So if somebody in the team cannot smile or laugh, then I'm not a person who's going to work with that particular team, because a lot of things go wrong and people need to take be able to take them in a lighter vein and move ahead. So change management teams most of the time are highly experienced cross-functional teams, and humor and fun are part of and should be part of a healthy change management team and a healthy exercise. Another reason for that is it builds a better connect. Then most of the time what happens is this again is the third one is about for like I'm telling you something, some aspects of it, and it might appeal to some students or it might appeal to someone, but this induces biases. It is the point here. The webinar does not contain an advertisement or promotion, but consequential addiction to change management. I'm trying to create a bit of a funny narration here, but what I'm also trying to say is don't absorb anything that is being taught, preached, or presented as a good practice out there. Then this is another pitfall every change manager or change management team will have. Something worked in some other organization doesn't mean it works for you. And even if it is somebody who might have received an award earlier, if they are telling something, it need not be correct. So that's another reason why when you are executing change or planning for change, things need to be worked out, ground up. So that's the reason. If for those who gain expertise in this particular area, there will always be opportunities. But again, these opportunities should never be given just because of their past performance. Their current performance also matters. So please do whenever you are going for an interview, then see what is the definition of change management that particular person or that particular organization has, and when you're answering to change management, answer in that particular way. So what this disclaimer says is that I might be telling you something, this has worked or this may work, but there is no guarantee that it will work for someone or someone else in some other time. Okay, good. So that is the nature of the enterprise, and we will see how and why in the slides to go. Okay. Next slide, ma'am. The reason I am moving it to next slide is that I wanted to take some inputs from the students. Yeah. Here, how many of your students can participate with me in a discussion around this? Even the faculty are invited. So we will be spending about, it is 10:23 now, about 10 minutes on these two slides to think about what may be change management and what may not be change management from the responses that I have received from the initial surveys. I have not been able to put all of them here, but some of them. Can some of your students unmute yourself?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So is that Bhavya?
Yes, sir.
Hi. So Bhavya,
Hi, sir.
yeah, hi. I need a couple of more voices.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Manisha.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Deepika.
Good morning, sir.
Sir, any problem? Hello, sir. Can you hear us?
Sir, please go ahead. We are waiting. Please go ahead, sir.
I think sir had some technical issue. He will join back. He will join back.
Okay.
From my phone.
Yes, sir. Arun, sir, you can go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I got had to disconnect and come back. In this particular slide, which you see here, why do you think planning and execution of activities could be change management, and why not determined by the current changes in the market? I will give you my opinion also, why and why not, and that is one of the only ways in which we can understand a concept like this, because there could be multiple definitions, and one way to do this is to take a particular opinion and see why something is and why something is not. Okay. Who are there with me? I think the few people have unmuted. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So there are on the left side, and any one of you, sirs and students, in case you have an opinion on why some of the answers on the left side are change management and why some are not, some on the right are not change management, let me know. Yeah, and one other thing, change management is a highly participative effort. Okay, it is not finance, where, or it is not what you call HR. Also, it is not what you call marketing. The only way to bring change is to get everybody on board, and that is the reason I won't be able to explain what change management is, or I won't be able to put that in mind unless at least a few of you talk to them. So
Okay,
who would like to? Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir.
Tell me, please. The process of so let's planning and execution of activities, is it change management?
Yes, sir.
Okay, in my opinion, that is one particular part of change management, and we will see, we will get there. But why is determined by the current changes in the market, not change management? Change management most of the times is your readiness, is what you call all your efforts, either intellectual capability of the, based on the intellectual capability of the management. It is something that makes you ready for the changes in the market, right?
Yes, sir.
It is some, yeah, it is some, and it is never, or at least there might be what you call crisis management scenarios where you might have to, the change management things get what you call uh, I'll tell you something about I'll give one example. I was working with a large a team of a change management and strategy team of a large bank in the UK not quite long ago. So one of the reasons why a large change management program got kicked off was on 29th or 30th of a month, end of the month. And this is a very, very large bank in the UK. And most of the, what do you call, and they do a lot of business banking. So most of the salary payments happen through that particular bank. and a small piece of software, and every day hundreds and hundreds of teams upload their changes and software into the particular bank's servers. And there are about 9 different security layers. And but what happened? All of a sudden, the bank stopped working for one day because somebody uploaded a small piece of software and they didn't what do you call know what happened. The salaries, people were not able to put the salaries in their account, the companies. So a large population of that country did not get salaries on time. So then they resolved it, but they thought that became a primary driving goal for the change management practices, that this is something which should never ever happen in our bank again, right? Customer focus. And so the entire behaviors of the, including those of the vendors, have they started driving those across. Then they even put together very very stringent practices. I did pass the certification. It's called change authorizer, on what all things to check before something what do you call gets onto the server. How does it impact? Where does it impact and stuff? Uh, then that is the reason it is not, even though the what do you call effect was at the customers, the change management initiative the bank created, which for which they spent over years of time, a few millions and millions of pounds. Okay, that was UK. So, but all they did do was change internally, change their practices internally, right? The effect was in the market because they made a mistake. Somebody else or somebody else tried to take on the customers, but it was internal in the market. The entire change management practice is always internal to the company. But and these are the case studies which will which are have confidential aspects to it, so I won't be able to go deep dive into it, but I'm trying to bring some of those learnings here. So brings change and innovation in the company and affects the growth and expansion of the company. Is it change management?
Yes, sir.
Is it change management, or is it an outcome of change management, or an objective of change management?
I think it is an objective, sir.
It is an objective that
Of
can,
change.
yeah, that can help us prepare a change management program, or that can help us design a change, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it is collective term of all approaches. For some reason, I saw a lot of these responses, and I'm not sure if it is a group or if it is a team or if it's a group of friends, but all approaches collective term, or you might have read a textbook. That's the reason I'm telling you the definitions are totally different and they are highly contextual. But in my opinion, nothing collective, there is no collective term for all approaches, right? And there was also what do you call one person who asked me, what is the philosophical definition of change management and all? See, so if there is permission, I can get into that also. Collective term for all approaches? No, there can never be something like that philosophically. So, and the what do you call philosophical definition of change management is, as an individual, philosophically, there is what do you call there is a word called fate, okay, pattern in Greek philosophy. So that is something at a larger scale people feel it cannot be changed. But institutions are not people. They are built by people. So people have the ability to change the fate of an institution, right?
Yes, sir.
That is, yeah, that is the philosophy with which people create a change management program. So the fate of the institution changes, or it what do you call becomes more and more desirable. Yeah. So that is the philosophy of change management. So individuals, I'm not sure. Even the biggest Greek philosophers were not sure if that could be changed or not. And even our philosophy sometimes says this, sometimes says that. But I'm confident that a very, very well designed change management program and good leadership, good management team can change the fate of an organization. So that is the philosophy of change management. Then process of moving from current state to future state, but organizing everything to work in a smooth flow. Process of moving from current state, and this to an extent is closer to what could be a good definition. Okay, change management strategy is a plan of how to make something different. Is that, and why that may not be a answer to change management? Hello.
Sir?
A change management strategy is a plan for how to make something different.
Make something different.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It is not some, we are not making something different. Understand, change management is something internal to the organization, and change management creates a better organization, a better version of the same product and service. So you're not creating something different with the change management. You are only creating something, a better version, a better way to do, and a better way to a more efficient form of the same organization. And when I talk about organization, and this is again very, very important, one needs to have very, very clear understanding of these concepts of what an organization is, what a market is, what a team is, what capability is. So many of you have put what do you call list of roles that you want to get into. Um, have talk to people, have get more. This is the time where you can build very, very good understanding of these concepts. So without understanding these concepts at depth, it might be difficult to get into a change management team. Okay. So, but yeah, there will always be entry level roles. Get into them, and some of these things I have understood much later in my career also. So, but I can tell you that it is not something different that you're creating. It is the same thing which you're improving a little bit. Then management techniques or methods which bring change and innovation in the company and affects the growth and expansion of the company. Management techniques or methods which bring change and innovation in the company and affects the growth and expansion of the company. The reason I liked this definition is for the first time in all these definitions, there is a word that has come, growth. Yeah. Right? That is the only reason, maybe, why a change management initiatives are, why change management initiatives are funded. Okay? Because if you can't show growth, if it can't directly correlate to the growth of the company, the change management initiatives do not get funded or budgeted for. So growth, because this is, in my opinion, is closer to the correct answer. Now, as you see, there when I asked for an opinion, there were about 70 opinions that have come and 70 different answers. And this is a scenario which is there every day in front of a decision maker in an organization. How many of you agree with it or not?
Yes, sir. I
Yeah.
agree, sir.
And as I told you earlier, you will need to build a common ground before you implement the change. So how do I build a common ground? And there are more definitions here. Next slide also, as you can see, and very good ones. Organization change is necessary to companies to succeed and grow. This is also something which change management drives successful adoption and usage of change within the business. Within the business, I do remember the name of this lady, but I am not saying it out. It allows employees to understand and commit and shift to the work and efficiency during it. You have copied it from somewhere, but it's a better, much closer answer. Okay. Um, so how see there are so many of it. I have not even been able to put all of them here. But if this is an organization, you are all part of my organization, and we are planning a change, and we are trying to move towards that particular change, right? How do I convince you that which of these answers is closer, which we can, yeah, and one other very, is everyone there with me? This is a very clear point. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
One very important point in change management is that there is something which you want, the desired change, okay? But you should also start with what you have in hand and start creating that change. So what I have in hand is are these, right? So, but what will happen is some people will say, hey, we have this in hand, we have this in hand, we can do this, we can do that. How do I convince my whole team to collectively move in a particular direction? This is where a lot of measurements and metrics come into picture. So today, as I mentioned, I'll do a small workshop. I'll do a case study of what these measures and metrics could be and how an actual, how in a scientific way you can, what do you call, present to your teams or leadership or to your peers and convince them about the desired way to move. So we will also try to do that. But I will, by end of the session, have to convince you, all the people who have given that, a particular answer is a current right potential answer, which we all have, and we need to move in a particular direction. Okay. Ma'am, can I request you to move to the next, please? Thanks. As I mentioned earlier, some things which I assume here, because you are already studying, capable students, and you people are more brighter than we used to be in our college. We used to do our MBA. I definitely feel that this set of people have, like, I did my MBA from one of the top management institutes in India. It was, and only we had internet only in one particular lab at that point of time. Not many, no internet on in our dorm rooms. What do you call? Then classrooms did not have internet in those days, and the presentations we used to make were on those celluloid slides, right? So we used to have manually handwrite them. Things are different today, and you people have much wider access, and you will grow much faster than we grow also. But one assumption which I'm making here, and if and also these are certain words which you people should put more and more effort before you graduate, so that by the time you get into the workforce, you are in the interview stage, you have a very good clarity. And the way to build it is to do certain projects to understand that, or to build certain case studies from those projects so that you can present evidence. Organization and purpose, vision and strategies, plans and budgets, resources. Resources include people, time, all your inventory and stuff, market forces and competition, industry, clusters and economies. Currently, my projects are in this particular area, industry, clusters and economies. leadership and management. I am currently doing some projects in this particular area also. Culture, grossly misunderstood word. People and Roberts. There are these two are not same, and there are organizations who have treated people as robots. Now I challenge them to treat robots as robots and get the same work. They're totally different things, but it's highly essential for us to understand, because a lot of change that we plan as people will now get we will get help of the robots too. When I say robot, it can be an Excel sheet also, which helps us calculate, right? A computer. A robot is a new word for a computer which walks or which moves. Then, which can also walk or move. Growth. If you have 2 years of MBA, my suggestion is understand one new way of creating growth every week of those 2 years. That is what will make you one of the best out there in the industry. Okay, and change management and a well-planned change management is one of the most promising way to create and sustain growth in an organization. Okay. Now, ma'am, can we? I'm assuming that you understand. Yeah. What is happening in this particular image here? Again, I need participation.
Sir.
Father supporting me, sir,
Okay.
to stand or walk.
Yeah, and what is this boy trying to do?
Is
Go ahead,
walking, sir.
Walk, sir.
Is trying to walk.
Trying to walk. Okay.
Walk.
Yeah. And next one.
Sir, that baby is watching something and someone is supporting him, sir.
Okay. The baby is watching something.
Something
Yeah.
and holding her hand, sir.
Okay. Great. So now that baby is watching something. Is that a distraction or is that a vision?
Vision, sir.
Vision, sir.
We don't know. Does the baby have
Distraction.
capability? Yeah. That is why it becomes highly essential to put a
Like
change management program and plan in place, because many times the leaders might have a particular vision, but the people in the organization may get distracted here and there, right? And they might think that is an interpretation of the vision, and that's why I put it very, very clearly in the disclaimer that there could be multiple interpretations and each contextually. So I feel that this baby is getting distracted, because that is not something the baby does. The baby actually likes to lays around. So they're doing something, which, and I don't think there is a vision, but let's see how it goes. Ma'am, can you go to the next slide? Yeah, here. What's happening in these three steps?
The baby saw her parent and then started walking towards her.
Is this distraction?
This is not
no,
distraction.
sir. It's
Yeah,
not
this is not.
distraction.
Yeah, this is not distraction. Yeah, now, yeah, and see what happens is the clear objective. It's not vision still, but the objective is to go there, reach there, right? So
Yes,
there
sir.
are a couple of steps. Next one, ma'am. Now, is it a distraction or vision?
Vision, sir. Vision, sir.
Yeah, maybe we don't know, because we have one disagreement. The gentleman here says it is. And why do you? I'm not sure who it is, but why do you say that it is distraction?
Yes, sir, because there's nothing there in front for her to go to.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very,
it's,
very, yeah,
it's
very good point. And most of the time, the vision is something beyond what is obvious to the current context, right? But to be able to go to that particular place, there needs to be something which is measurable and which is called a medium and short term goal. And alignment of this all these medium and short term goals towards this ultimate goal or objective is one way to define a change management program. And vision could be in a way called an ultimate objective. And vision cannot always be put very clearly in words. But one thing which is missing in this particular slide where we saw earlier is that value system, resilience. So those are the ways in which a leader can keep building the organization moving and keep moving it towards that particular vision. But yeah, I'm happy that very good discussion. And I'm sure in the next 10 minutes, I will be able to tell you a way in which this could be physically made possible or practically made possible in organization. Next one, ma'am. What is this? We saw baby trying to walk, and what is now happening?
It's
it's a
look like
picture of
running,
a
sir.
person running.
Yeah,
It's like one person is running, sir.
person is running, absolutely. So we saw the baby. What are the common things in you saw that baby moving 3 steps, and now this particular running image. Could you find something which is common?
Sir, in first slide, the baby is standing, sir.
Mhm.
Then he came to reach her, he came to reach her mother, sir. In next slide, that baby.
Mhm.
And the third step, it's seeing where to go, where to go if they are thinking, sir. In this slide, they are running.
Okay,
Step by step moving towards goals.
moving towards goals.
Go.
But how moving towards goals is not like sitting. How do you say? Okay, let's go to the next slide now. In my see, there are two different photographs in this organization. One on the left side and one on the right side. The right side is the objective and ideal organization where people actually deliver work. But on the left side is the initial steps where you can see the tent. There is like multiple things need to be controlled at the same time. In my opinion, any organization, however sophisticated it might be, is like a tent on the left side. There are always every day there are people and the leaders and managers trying to hold the poles, put together the ropes, pull here, pull there, increase the what you call, put another tent here or there and all. So what I try to convey from the babies steps are that walking is controlled falling forward, right? If you see any baby, they fall forward and then try to bring up the leg or arm or something, and then they try to walk. Even today, don't do the experiment with yourself. I am not going to pay your orthopedic bills, but when you walk, that is what you do. When you run, that is what you do. You fall forward, your leg automatically comes there, you put it, and then you leap, right? Change management is that. That is the capability of, because an organization always needs to fall forward. That is the way to go. That is where the vision helps. That is where the objectives help. And capability is another word you will need to understand. And the deeper understanding of this comes with more experience. Like the Dean sir who came today, the Professor sir who came today, Geetanjali ma'am, and some other institutional heads. there is a capability in them that puts them there in that particular guiding position. So organization also sustains itself just by building those particular capabilities. These capabilities are team capabilities and stuff. Okay. So are you sure? Are you okay with this definition of change management from my side?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now you are a team of 160 people, right? So now I need to convince, say, I run a large organization which has 5 lakh employees. How do I convince everybody that this answer is the right answer? This is where, ma'am, can we go to the next slide? We have about 20 minutes. So I'll try to take you through a framework, a case study, and a hands-on workshop, and then a Q&A. Next, ma'am. The way to what you call tackle change management or is to be able to make strategic decisions multiple times. So for that, we need to see where the problem is and structure it in a way which could be quantified. Quantification is very, very important. And only when you quantify a problem or a scenario that all this data, you get a lot of jobs these days in data and analytics. And so unless somebody quantifies the problem very, very clearly, none of the data analytics or none of the algorithms or tools are going to help you properly. So based on the problems and opportunities, you structure the decision problem and then define objectives and preferences, then identify uncertainties and risks, right? And then create options and decisions. This is one of the cycle which I learned professionally and I deploy. So that's the reason I am trying to explain to you. There are multiple other ways in which the similar kinds of things can be done. And I'll take you through a small case study of how we did this. Next, how we usually do this. It's an old case study, so we can do. And you see, there was somebody who said that the baby is not able to see where they're going. It is always the case. We can't see the future completely. So how is it that we will still be able to create a change management program, a strategic program, and then move towards that particular goal? So ultimate objectives are some things which are not exactly vision, but are in that realm of the vision, which again can be measured. So vision is not measurable. So it is like the fate of the leader. The leader has chosen that vision, so it is his fate. But organization's fate is not leader's fate, right? Leaders change. So the ultimate objectives are in our control and they're measurable. So, but the only way to draw that line on if we are going correctly or not is based on a value focused theory, right? Value focused theory is given that this is what I want to achieve, what value does doing a certain set of activities or an attributes give me? I will give you an example. I've created an Excel sheet and we will spend about 10 minutes on that. Okay. Then the guiding path here is it's like this. You see this in the center, there is a small square. That could be like in the beginning, the specific decision context. This is where the change management program starts. Start of the program, we can say phase 1 or phase 2, could be 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, right? So now you move to say this particular period where the gray a box in the center is, and then find out that okay, the road is to the right, the road is to the left, but we moved somewhere else. Then this particular framework helps you adjust the actions and move ahead. So how do we do that? Only way to do that is measure, measure, measure. Okay. And one other thing about change management is that you need to measure before, measure during the execution of program, and the reporting is almost every week. The core team meets every day. Then the important stakeholders meet every week or a month to discuss, measure, and then give release budgets and keep moving ahead. And sometimes these programs are also scrapped. Why? Multiple reasons. They thought they might have planned for a much, much bigger change, which is not needed, or they might realize that the change they planned is too expensive. Okay. Next slide, ma'am. And also, this is another very, very simple framework which you can use on creating major change. Sense of urgency is very, very important. The reason I brought the Excel sheet and workshop into this 1 hour, 15 minutes is that just for that. If I don't do it now, then I lose an opportunity to create certain value. So there should always be sense of urgency that the change should start now. But what you can do now, you should do now. Create a guiding coalition. Today, what the dean sir, the principal sir, Gitanjali ma'am, and the heads of other institutions are doing is that whatever, in whichever way they can add value to you, they are doing it. Not purely based on their own ability and capability, but also by inviting multiple other peoples to come and join. So this is the guiding coalition they're creating for you people. And what is the change that they're creating? They're not creating the change for their, in a way, it is their institution's change management program, internal. But once the learning gets induced into yourself, that is a product and service. So your change management starts. Then developing a vision and strategy, it's must. So read Kota or any other of these authors, you will gain much better understanding. Communicating the change vision. And to be able to communicate the vision, you will have to use multiple tools. Okay. Empowering broad-based action. Yeah, this is something which is very, very essential in change management. Change management is something which cannot be specific to one particular department. It affects every department or every person in the organization in one way or the other. So the action should be broad-based, and you need to empower people to take action. And when you, one very, very important thing about empowering is, if I am asking somebody to say, lay off the team if needed, recruit new people, it may cost what you call $100, or we might make a profit of 2% less this year, but this change needs to happen. And when you are giving that mandate to multiple 10 to 20 senior leaders in your company, you are empowering them. They better come back with the results and data, right? And that is where the change management planning, program planning, and measurement come into picture. I'll tell you what measurement is. Generate short-term wins. If those senior vice presidents and vice presidents, they don't generate the short-term wins, they will be fired and the program will not go ahead. So Kotter also clearly explains why these short-term wins are important. Like the change plan is for 2 years or 5 years. Every 6 months, there should be a value add that is clearly visible in the balance sheet. So the wins are essential. Then consolidate gains and producing more. This is where acceleration happens, and anchor new approach in the culture, right? That is where the behavior of practices, behaviors and practices are there. Ma'am, I request you now to open the other PPT which I've sent. Is it possible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. 10 minutes are there, 5 minutes for the PPT and 5 minutes I'll do, just 2 to 3 minutes for the PPT. There's a PPT and two Excels, ma'am. Please open them. Yeah. You see, there is this particular case study where the organization wants to change. It is a Danish case study. And don't take screenshots of this, please. This is something which I am only sharing academically. So what happened here is that this change already happened. This is about 5 years ago. We planned for it, and the way we went about it is something which we want to explain. Next slide, ma'am. This magazine is particularly, they are very, very traditional. And can you please move one slide? They wanted to understand if digitization is the best way to go ahead, or there could be multiple other options. And the change that they wanted to create ran into their organization structure and also into what you call the organization structure. And they are the people, they are not, like, not 100% of their employees are full-time, so they are part-time employees. So how to influence them and all, but still is the change, the entire operation is an internal change management program. Can we quickly go through the slides, ma'am? Hello.
Yes, sir. I'm sharing. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah.
So now the way we went ahead is like, given what decision should they take, and after the decision, we also went on to build the metrics that are needed to measure an implementation decision. So they identified the risks of not doing acting or something. As Kota says, we need to act. So if we don't act, and that is the reason that this magazine is a very, very prestigious magazine, they won't grow and they will lose that image that is there. So we identified risks and we identified opportunities. Next one. So after risks and opportunities, then we identified multiple alternatives. And then because one very important aspect of change management is that you need to convince your team members, or the management, right? We need to scientifically tell them that this is the best way to go. So we went into multiple alternatives. Then we have what you call, we arrived at, next slide, ma'am. What is the single most cost was the single most criteria, because at that point of time, the budgets, they would not have been able to scale the budgets, but they had to identify other ways in which to create the change. Which slide are we on, ma'am?
Sir, is the presentation visible?
No, not for me. Yeah.
Now?
Yeah, now it's visible. Yeah. So yeah, this is again another slide where if there is any interest among the students, then we can do another half an hour at a much later time. So you can also see that there are fundamental objectives and there are attributes to each of the fundamental objectives. So this is a very, very detailed exercise. So you might have seen that a lot of the organization top leadership, they go for offsites, right? Offsite is where they go to enjoy in a restaurant, in a very, very big five-star hotel or a resort. So this is what they do there. Okay, they create all these things and they think through. Then we did that, and then we arrived at we looked at what data is available, what data can be measured, and how the attribute. This is where creation of the formula is, and the attributes are like constructed attributes, proxy attributes, like in certain, like currently I'm working on a project, and we are doing a pitch to the investor. We don't have the data directly, but we do get a sense of which data to present from proxy attributes. So that is something which we did also. Then constructed attributes again, which, and most of the time the data is not directly available. Like I did a survey with you guys, right? So that is an opinion I collected. So I need to quantify that opinion also if I need to go and present it to my leader and say that, yeah, one way to quantify that is I got 70 responses, and 70 responses is about a little, about 50% of the participants here. So I'm able to touch 50% of the participants. So 50% of the participants had pre-class participation. And for me to be able to judge the quality of this presentation, if I get 20% or 25% of post-class participation, or if there is a so all these things are measurements, right? Then we did that, and as you can see in the last slide, then I'll also show you the Excel. Can you open the Excel, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
So change management is not PPT, not slides. Change management is not, it is purely being able to convince some people that things are going fine and that in which way the things should be going. And that is the reason why you as either MBAs or engineers tomorrow will get paid. Okay. It is change management is not the payroll job, or change management is not the what you call raising finance job. Right? Yeah, this is how that particular case studies calculations were, and okay, and finally we made a decision. The leadership was convinced, and this goes to the levels of probability. There are multiple aspects, so each one of that bar is one particular attribute. Okay. And this change is still continuously in improvement. My colleague who was there on the slides is currently just got promoted, and he is heading the marketing for the journal. So yeah. Now let's open the other Excel sheet now, which we have, which is something which I created.
Sir, is it the same Excel sheet? Excel folder?
Yeah, it's in the say it's in WhatsApp, which I sent across. But there is one more Excel sheet which it's okay. With the name. It's with the name. Because based on that, I wanted to give a feel to the students on how to do that. And what I've tried to do in this particular Excel is I've created a framework where now in the next, it's 11:14, I think we can extend it by another 5 minutes if possible, to measure the measure and identify which definition of theirs is much closer to the definition of change management. That is the Excel which I created. It has two sheets. Second sheet. The name would be not this one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is, you see, these are all the responses you people have sent. And can you click on the second sheet, ma'am, of this particular Excel?
So there's only one sheet?
No, there should be one more. There's no, oh, okay. Or maybe I've not sent you.
Okay.
That's what. And what happened just now is that the error, which now I need to correct the error. Where is it? Yeah, any questions before that is the last part of my presentation. In between, are there any questions? I can answer the questions it only takes 5 minutes for me to present that. Any questions? Hello. Hello, any questions?
No, sir.
Why no questions?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Good morning, sir. I'm Poonima. Sir,
Yeah,
I
Poonima.
wanted to know when there is lot of resistance to change, what
Yeah.
are the ways to change management?
Okay, very good point. And resistance to change will always be there. And that is something, as you can see, only way to overcome resistance is to explain them in a way they understand. Okay. There is no better way than that. And most of the time, resistance happens because the people who are creating change have planned that particular change individually and they want to thrust it upon their what do you call stakeholders. So in this particular journalism case study, there is also a mention somewhere about the unions which are there. It is a Scandinavian country. The unions are still there, active there. So they have found a solution. They have found a way in which not to even get their what do you call inputs and be able to make the change, right? So communication is the only way, and that is the reason change managers also get paid, and that is the reason again change managers or change agents also get fired, and that is also a reason why the change agents need to be external. Many of them, the leadership themselves cannot run the change management programs because they cannot afford to fire themselves when things go wrong. And resistance will be there, things will go wrong. And yeah. So last slide, I'm having a difficulty in putting that model across. If it needs to be closed, we can close it now, ma'am, or else I'm sending you one more Excel sheet. Any other questions?
Sir,
Yeah.
can I ask, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
How can you change the management in the loss or in abundance?
Say that, ma'am. I've just sent across one Excel sheet. See if there is a second sheet in it. I did not understand the question, ma'am.
ಸರ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಈಗ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ನಿ ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದಾಗ ಅದರಿಂದ ಯಾವ ತರ ಓವರ್ಕಮ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ.
ಹೌದು, ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದು. ಲಾಸ್ ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಅದು ಅನಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಟ್ ಕಾಸ್ ಅನಾಲಿಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. So you need to understand what is the root cause for that particular loss. Is the root cause something organizational? And there are certain aspects to change management. Change management is usually undertaken when it is an organizational problem, right? And I mentioned the word capability. Is the loss because of the capability of a sales team? Did the sales team not what do you call not use a particular opportunity, or did the sales team undersell something, or was the product old, or is the product did the product was the product not meeting the customer expectations, and it was only selling because there was nothing else available in the market. So that is the kind of analysis that needs to be done, and then you will have to plan for the area where you need to intervene. And change management, for that reason, when things like this happen, one of the in the slide you can also see one of the alternative was mergers and acquisitions. In case the balance sheet of the company is so wrong, so has gone for a toss, then you may also want to onboard a new financial partner. Once you identify and once you explain this particular thing to them, they will say, as a banker will say, yeah, you're right, that you can still do it, so take this particular funding. Or you might have a new capability partner onboarded, like, oh, this was a sales what do you call error, not a product error. So my company is very good at building sales, so let's become joint venture, right? And so those could be multiple alternatives. There is no single answer, but as I told you, the fate of the organization can be changed. That is change philosophy.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I have one question, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, is it compulsory, sir, in the organization to change management? Change management
Yes.
is compulsory, sir, in the organization.
Yes, and there, what do you call, depends on how big the organization. If the organization is small, then these activities can be taken up by a particular team of managers and the leader, owner. If the organization is big, then this becomes a routine exercise. So one of the this is what is called institutionalizing the practice and building the capability. So there are what do you call teams in every large organization which do it every year. Their only work is to do this studies, analysis, and all, and prepare for these leadership upgrades and keep driving change. Why is and why is it essential and everyday activity and compulsory activity for every organization? Go back to the definition. It is a controlled way of falling forward, right?
Okay.
The organization it should always keep falling forward. If you don't, and the turf where your foot falls is different. It's not like you're not running on a treadmill, right? You're running on a road, or you're running in a garden, you're running in a market. So every footfall is different. So that's the reason that control mechanism, one of the control mechanisms uses continuous change management teams and programs internally. Ma'am, can you go to the second slide?
Thank you, sir.
Second sheet in it. I just sent on WhatsApp. There is a second sheet.
Sir, I have shared the sheet.
Okay. I am not able to see it on the screen here, but anyways, in this,
I'll just share it again, sir. I'll just share it again. This is the
because
Excel
anyways,
sheet.
yeah.
And the second sample example of measurement.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. See, what happens here is that I have taken the same words which you have given, right? And on the top, I have put if you go to the first, change management is a capability of controlled falling forward, right? That is, if you can expand the cell, if you can, not that way, if you can put on the left side and draw. So it is the same definition. What I'm trying to do is, this is academic thing. So, and in the second, no, not that way, man. Put it, just click on that. The second point here is that it will be one of the definitions that is chosen as the best definition, and we need to communicate it to everyone. So we have created a measurement framework, like the most preferred attribute. In my opinion, does this definition showcase growth? So for ma'am, MPA 1, if you can write growth there as one thing. No, yeah, there you can write growth. Yeah. And for MPA 2, any like, what are the other attributes which you feel will create the best definition of what you call change management? Any one of you?
Development, sir.
Development is growth. Yeah.
Vision, sir.
Okay, vision. Okay.
Planning, sir.
Planning. Okay.
Continuous development, sir.
Ah, okay. Continuous development. Continuous. And 5, some other word. Yeah, you can create this. I'm just giving you an example of how to quantify something which we usually think is qualitative. And ma'am and any other person who have done PhDs do know that everything needs to be quantified. So yeah, what are the other words?
Unique thinking, sir.
Unique. Very good. Potential. That is, yeah. Without that, you cannot change. What is the current potential? Yeah. See, even in this particular Excel, the reason I did a survey is by habit, I need to understand what the current potential of the team is, how much I can put on your heads in this 1.5 hours, right? So that is very highly important. Now, you see, out of these 5 words, which one you think is the most, like out of 100 points, which is that, like, if 100 points have to be given to one particular attribute or one particular word or one, which one is that? Is it growth or most preferred one? Which one is it? Current potential or growth?
Current
Growth.
potential, sir.
Potential, sir.
Current potential.
Correct.
Very good. Yeah. So in that, and so if out of 100 points to current, how much points would you like to give to current potential? How important is it? 80%, 50%, 60%?
50%, sir.
50, sir.
Okay, let's take 90%.
90%.
Yeah. Okay, 90% there. Okay. Now, for after that, the next less important than that, which could be about 80% important or 70% important. Which one is that?
Vision, sir.
Okay, vision. Okay, put vision for example. Put vision about 70%. Then planning, which is the next one?
Sir, planning, sir.
Planning, say about 65 or 60%. Then
Continuous development.
Development, sir.
Continuous development.
Okay, that is about, say, 50% or 40%.
Then growth, sir.
Growth, sir.
Yeah, growth about 30%. Okay, now what I've done is I was just creating an example. These are not correct, but now you see the first definition which is here. What is it? Planning and so which one does this of this all 5 does it meet?
Once again, sir.
No, like the definition which is here, we are trying to arrive which is the best definition based on the understanding of our seminar, right? So
Yes.
we are trying to do it in a quantified way. So here, this particular first sentence which is there, right?
Planning, sir.
Planning, sir.
It is only talking about planning. So put 1 in planning. Okay. So then the next one. What are points?
Growth and continuous development.
Growth and put 1 in growth and put 1 in continuous development. No, not the second one. The first one, leave it there. Yeah, second one. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I may not have validated it, but anyways, they say what now I'm trying to do is so now what happens is the calculator. This we have given weights there on top. Now we go through and give 111 here. So as you can see, something that the definition which most suits wherever you have given 2 or 3 of these points, and also the current potential, that has the tendency here to get a better score, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, 60. The score can go up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 500 is the maximum score on which a definition can get scored. Currently, the first sentence got about 60 because we only gave about 80% importance to something and all. This is one way in which we can and resistance. When somebody did ask a question about resistance, when you do something like this, and when you're able to explain it to them why you have chosen something, then I feel there is a better chance of overcoming that particular resistance. Got it? This sheet is there with ma'am. You can take it and ma'am, before giving it to students, remove the first sheet because it has personally identifiable information.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Yeah. Only this sheet you can send it to them. They can correct the error in the formula and use it. And that's all. So hope I have been able to justify that change management is control falling forward. Thanks for the time.
Thank you very much, sir. It was indeed a pleasure listening to you. A lot of things you covered, Arun sir, and you spoke about change, the definition of change, how the change happens in an organization. Change is always internal, not external. And a crisis do happen in an organization. At that time, if the organization is ready for these changes, it can adapt to the changes and move further in their life. There is going to be a sudden change. There is going to be a forced change, but always better for an organization to initiate the change and do the changes, whatever is needed. So that you spoke about it. You gave an example of various organizations wherever you served under various capacities. How did you bring those changes? You started your seminar with that. And then you pictorial representation, you did it by showing the picture of a small kid and showing the path and how mother and all those examples you gave it. It was very much eye-opener and a real way of how the change happens in an organization. You explained it through Excel sheet and how the change is vital in an organization. How in a real life situation, how the change is happening and make it happen. You explained about it. And it was very interactive. Students were quite interested in it and they asked several questions. You could manage to answer it. In fact, faculty members also participated in it. Why people resist to change, that also they asked the question. You give a beautiful answer. Yeah, you give a beautiful answer for that. Overall, it was really mind-boggling, I would like to say it, because change, we thought that, okay, change is forced change only, we knew about it. But you made us to think that, okay, it is always not going to be a forced change. It's a change which has to be initiated by the organization under whichever circumstances they are in, whether they are doing well, bad, or they are doing extremely good. Doesn't matter. They need to initiate the changes because change is always for futuristic, not for immediate suddenly is going to happen. So this is the really nice momentum which is going to be built in for the students. The reason being is that faculties were forced to get into online mode of teaching, online mode of communicating to the students because it was not planned. It was a sudden change. It was forced. You can say the crisis, but it also started with not immediate because this Google platform was there, created earlier. Over a period of time, how it has to be used. A lot of works have happened. So we have started using it right now, but the change has happened, initiated long back. Totally, it was very nice, sir. I would like to appreciate on behalf of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, Department of Management Studies, your invaluable time and support and spending your ideas and thoughts with the students. Thank you very much, sir. Gitanjali ma'am, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you very much, Arun sir. We would really appreciate for the time and efforts that you have given. Yes, it's been, yes. Most of us were not clear about change management. Right? After looking into the questions, what students were asking, something everybody were curious to know what is change. And right, nicely, even Arun sir has uh, explained, and Amit sir has quite simply summarized whatever you have done also. So I thank you so much, sir, for your being part of this webinar, and I thank all the staff who were involved in this, and especially the students who have been listening to you all this while. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, ma'am. And wishing you all the best, students. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you everyone for your patient listening and participation. Thank
We
you once
also,
again, Arun
yeah.
sir, once again for your presence. I thank all the faculty members of Nagarjuna College of Engineering and Technology, all the heads and other college professors, teachers, and students. Thank you for your participation and patient listening. Now we have shared the feedback form with you in a chat box. Please do fill in feedback form. That is going to provide you the e-certificate as well. Those who are going to fill the feedback form. Thank you very much, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Bye, bye, sir. Bye.
I'll take care, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Students, you can all fill the feedback form and then you can leave.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Fine with this. I think we can stop recording, and this is going to be in the end of the session. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.